Hey, Amina Ali, Plain Jane Wisdom here in Piedmont Park. We're going to finish this series here, and we're going to offer a greatness in this finishing. We talked about goals. I mean, we talked about goals earlier, and this is ridiculous. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. I cannot begin to tell you how beautiful this day is and how great these videos are coming out. This is, I don't even know if he's going to be able to have to edit them. I mean, they're just beautiful. And I'm not talking about the videos themselves. I'm talking about the energy and the vibe and the vitality of the topics that we're talking about today. Okay, so let's finish. We have been talking about judgment and discernment. We talked about objectives and goals, and now we're going to get personal. We're going to get personal. We're going to get all in your face. And we're going to give you your bows and arrows. Yeah, I kind of played off of bows and arrows, but it's your bows and your arrows. Bing. Okay, sorry. I wish I was a comedian, but I'm not. But bows and arrows. Bows. The men or the women that you are comfortable with. If I'm talking to men, these are the sisters that you find just absolutely phenomenal. And your Eros. Eros is love. So these are the people that you love. But actually, what this topic is going to be talking about today is how you keep meeting the same person with a different name. I'll say that again. You're meeting the same person with a different name. Now, how do you do that? Well, Jamie Foxx has a song that I absolutely like. It's The Type or My Type. And I think that what it is that he was talking about was that he keeps seeing the same person and he keeps running into that same person, and then he keeps getting hurt. Well, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same thing. But if you keep doing the same thing, thinking that it's going to change, that's when insanity sets in. And that's when you may need a little medicine or a nap or something. I mean, I don't know. But I just know that your bows is based on your arrows. So you keep attracting who you are. Uh-oh. I think I'm going to touch on some toes today. But yeah, you keep attracting who you are. So if you keep getting dysfunctional men, okay, I don't want to, I was trying to do that softly, but I guess it just didn't come out. You attract who you are, and you get what you're ready for. So here's where we're going to go, and then of course, part 2 of this is going to be the practical reality of it. But we're going to talk about your bows and arrows. And we're going to speak specifically to random, I don't know, however it's discerned to me. It's going to be random as to the case matters. But your bows. Let's talk about your bows for a minute. Since we're talking about bows and arrows. I love love. I love love. Never been in love, but I have loved a lot. And I love hard and fast. And that is something that has always been a real thing to me. You know, I actually was talking to a counselor years ago. I was debriefing out of the military, and I remember them telling me, you know, we started talking about personal relationships that we're going to have now that we're out of the military, and all of the things that are going to happen to us, you know, post Desert Storm, and all of the debriefing that they gave us. And I remember them saying one key thing, that you will be who you are in love and in war continuously. And I said, I didn't agree with it at first. I was just shaking my head. I was like, what in the world is she talking about? You will be the same in love and in war continuously. She didn't say consistently. She did say continuously. So that got me thinking. I was like, well, what is she talking about? Love and war continuously. The continuous thing, it just was driving me crazy, because I was like, I know the difference between consistent and continuous. So consistent is a pattern. Continuous is just that it happens. It is the relocation of being. So, okay, continuous. Love and war. War. So that means the way you fight is the way you fight. If you argue, if you physically fight, if you intellectually fight, if you use sarcasm, which my father used to always say is a poor man's argument, or if you take on a thing that you are going to be bigger than being right, how you fight is going to be continuous. And then how you love is going to be continuous. So, of course, you know, I had to put my big girl panties on for that one because I didn't want to deal with that. But she was right. I was in Desert Storm in 1991. Now, if you just do the math from you just seeing this video, I'm pretty sure you can understand that it has been many years since Desert Storm. And I remember that continuously. And do you know, when I think back to all of the relationships and not relationships that I've had, each one of them was a continuous relocation of that love. I loved hard and fast. I just do. I'm a hopeless romantic. I just love being in love. I've never been in love, actually, but I love the feeling of getting there. I love the process. I even love being married. I just didn't like when I was married to, but it's just, no, that was beautiful until it ended. And clearly it ended because I'm no longer with him. But I do know that when I was first married, I was in bliss. I promise you. There was more oxytocin running through my body and dopamine and serotonin in my system on a daily basis that I probably could have bottled it and made a mint off of it. Because it was such a good feeling. It was that one-on-one thing. It was that me and you, that Bonnie and Clyde, that, you know, us against the world, the whole thing. And it was just beautiful. And I knew, just like with my dad, I could have that one person that I could come to and be with and just trust. Now, of course, I was looking for my dad in him, and it just didn't work out because my dad was over there and he was way over there, like up on the hill where that person is, like all the way over there. And yeah, right. And I just couldn't even deal with it. But the point I'm making is there was a Eros that was continual. Now, the Beaus came. You get what you're ready for. So when I saw that they were too dysfunctional, I had to back up and say, look, 3 or 4 of them in a row, that's me. That's me. There's some dysfunction in my Eros. There's some dysfunction that I keep attractive because you attract who you are and you get what you're ready for. So I was attracting dysfunction because there was something dysfunctional about the way I Erosed, or the way I loved. So I had to check that. And what I found, and this was eye-opening. This was life-changing, and I mean that, life-changing. When I realized that my love was based on a want and not a desire. Almost trying to hold back tears on that. I did it on a want. And I did it because I wanted to feel that. So it was almost like that addictive personality piece that pops up every now and again that just makes you do that over and over and over again and keep getting that same feeling. Well, if you keep doing the same thing, as we mentioned, expecting something different from the same person, I was the dysfunctional one because I was the one clearly insane. So what I realized is I needed to take a step back. I needed to figure out what it is about that person that I wanted to love and find that in self. Now, I know that sounds repetitious. I know it sounds like a broken record. I know it sounds so cliche. Find what you want in your mate and love yourself with it. I get it. But there is a real-time thing that you don't understand. When you find what it is you want that person to solve or to be systematically given to you, if you find it within yourself, there is no longer a need for that person because you already got it. Now, I don't need you in my life. I want you in my life. I want you to compliment and be the companion, but I want you to do it as you can be that person. So in other words, I want you to help me to be a lover of music, not a lover of just being in the same room with you because I have needs and I'm feeling neglected in some way because of my pathology and I just need you in my face just to feel validated about having a relationship. Okay, that sounds like a seed of insecurity that's going to bridge into a fatal being in this relationship. And yeah, that's not cool. So Find out what it is. Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about real-time examples of that. But right now, just find out what it is. Find out what it is in you that you want him or her, if it's a guy watching, to emulate. Now, if it's a guy, find out if you have a healthy relationship with your mom, or if you even knew your mom, or if your relationship with your mom is unhealthy and you haven't right that wrong. Even if she's not with us, you can still right that wrong. You can say, Mom, you know what? I forgive you. Even though you're not with us, I forgive you. Forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for the other person. So if you forgive her and you say, you know what, I knew you were doing the best that you could, working with what it is that you had at the time, and you didn't do it the right way, but I forgive you because now I realize you didn't do it the right way and that you were human. And you as a parent were dealing with the same thing that I'm now dealing with. And that's why I see it, that what you did was wrong. But it wasn't wrong. It was just the way you did it at the time. And that's all you were working with. Forgive her. And then say, you know what? I'm not mad at you because you're human. And you make mistakes as I'm clearly making mistakes. So that just proves the theory of that discernment that we just talked about in that video before. That there is a true discernment of who you are in that truth. You're dysfunctional. Amina, you're dysfunctional in that. So why don't we just gather ourselves together, take some time, there's that thing, and find out who it and what it is that you want to be in this next relationship. So what did I do? Girl, I went so far as to go ahead and plan my wedding. That's how goal-orientated, man. We talked about goals and objectives. That's how goal-orientated I was. I went so far as to plan my wedding. So if I got to my wedding, I had to be at a certain place in my life before I got there. So my goal was the wedding. So I made it look like the minimalist wedding that I want, the very, I don't want to say monochromatic, but it kind of has that tendency to it. But I wanted to have this simple yet elegant wedding, and I wanted that to emulate my life. I wanted to go into the marriage as the symbolicness of the wedding. So minimalist, less is more. I just need what it is that's necessary to make it elegant and nice, and then embellish it with who I was. And I actually use that to map out objectives in my life, in my love now. Less is more. I don't need to have you in my face 24 hours a day. I don't need to even hear from you if we're not married. I don't need to hear from you every day. Now, once we get to the point of talking about getting married, then we need to relegate some kind of tangent within ourselves that is going to allow us to be together every day so that we can begin that habit, as we talked about, 21 to 28 days. But I said this to say that there is a greatness in this Eros, this love that we have, but we have to make sure that our Beau is us first. Us, me, I mean, we have to love ourselves. We have to be our best friend, our lover, our peacemaker, our genuine disciple for ourselves first. It sounds a bit narcissistic, actually, but it is. When you're dealing with love, you have to love self first, and you have to know what that love of self is. Then that boosts the self-esteem, that boosts the maturation of what it is that you are going to come into with that person, and then it shows by example what you can do and what you bring to the table. And I promise you, if you bring a great steak of a personality to the table, everybody's going to want to eat it, especially if you bring it in a way that looks delectable from the outside. You walk with confidence, you speak with a note of positivity and prosperity. You know what you want, you know how it's going to look, or at least you know what it is it's not going to be. And then when that person comes, you can say, you're not my cup of tea. You could use that over there at that table, because I need somebody that's a coffee person. And you know that, and you get that discernment. It's like, yeah, I could see that a mile away. Nope, you playing games. Nope, you about the game. Nope, you still trying to be young and you over 40. And all of these things that you are seeing that are not what you want. And sometimes we settle because we don't know what we want, or we settle because what we have inside of us is a settling or unsettled truth about ourselves. So Beau and Eros, yeah, that's what we're talking about today. This is Amina Ali, and you are on Plain Jane Wisdom. You know, the face is plain, the hair is plain, no nails. Yeah, just plain Jane. So Plain Jane Wisdom here in Piedmont Park. We're going to go to part 2 of Beau's and Eros, and we're going to do a real-time example. Thanks for watching.